of what if as we prepare for the play-ins. Hey, Tim Legler, what if the Warriors lose tonight?
What if the Warriors lose tonight? I think you're going to see some real long, hard questions take place in the summer for the first time about this team. I think it's going to be easier to say it than do it, but I think they're going to absolutely have to look at their core around Steph Curry and figure out how can they continue to stay competitive as long as he's this good.
Now, he's still playing at a championship level. Can they put a championship team around him? And Drea Carter has made her way into the studio. Drea, tomorrow night, what if the Sixers beat Miami and take on the Knicks in round one?
I would say then the Sixers have a great chance of going on to beating the Knicks. The way Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid are playing together, what they are combining in the floor when they're on the floor together has been elite. They've been a dynamic duo. Maxey has been unstoppable. So them as a pair, I would take them against the Knicks.
The brutal first-round draw for the Knicks if it happens. Meanwhile, Legs, back to you. What if the Lakers win tonight? Then what?
The Lakers win tonight. They've earned the right to play 5 or 6 more games against the Denver Nuggets. That's basically what they're going to guarantee themselves to do. I think they'll get at least one. They're not going to get swept again, but I think that's basically it. It ends there if you win the game against the Denver Nuggets.
It's a terrible matchup for them. They've lost the last 8 times they've played them. 4 of those were by double digits. Andrea Carter, yesterday, absolutely yelled at me about my belief. And I hope that now that you've had a day to sort of let it sink in, you've realized the error of your ways. The Lakers would inarguably be better off if they lose tonight than if they win.
Nothing good comes from ducking smoke, Greeny. Nothing good comes from trying to dodge an opponent. You put yourself in the mindset that you're not talented enough to beat that team. I don't like it. And then you've got to play Sacramento or the Warriors, and you only have one chance to beat those teams, 2 teams that have also beaten you. I would rather take a series, even if it's against the Denver Nuggets, the reigning champions, who I know the Lakers haven't won since 2022 against this franchise, but I would take a 7-game series with LeBron over 1 game coming off of ducking smoke.
Okay,
you get some rest.
I've been ducking smoke all my life, and it's worked out okay for me, so I don't know about that. But let me come over to you on this, Wendy. There isn't any reasonable possibility they're going to do that, right? I mean, the Lakers are going to go out there and they're going to play to win tonight in New Orleans.
Right, and Anthony Davis is dealing with a bit of a back injury. He's questionable. I mean, I expect him to play, but, if he doesn't play well, they could lose this game, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. That said, Andrea mentioned rest. I think rest is a very important thing when it comes to the Lakers because LeBron and that foot, AD and all of his maladies, and if you win tonight, you get 3 days off before game 1, and then the first round is way expanded. You get multiple days off between games. I don't think the Lakers are beating the Nuggets, whether it happens in the first round or it happens in the conference finals, but I think in the first round, the Lakers actually have a better chance.
Let's put the picks up on the screen, and I will ruin the suspense for you. Everyone here thinks the Lakers are going to win, Legler.
Yeah, I think they're going to win the game. I just think it's a bad matchup for the Pelicans, particularly the way the Lakers played them over the weekend. When they commit to their size and playing in the paint and beating them up physically, the Pelicans don't have an answer for that. The Lakers' pace was incredible in that game, and they played to their strengths. They didn't take contested threes early in the clock. They knew that New Orleans could not guard them inside. That's where they went. They'll do it again in this game. If they're committed to it and Anthony Davis is out there fully healthy, the Lakers should win this game.
That's the early game tonight. The late game tonight is Golden State at Sacramento, a rematch of what was a very entertaining first-round playoff series a year ago. I'll put the picks up on the screen, and this is the one where we have some division. Now, a minute ago, Leg said if they lose tonight and their season comes to an end, that sort of all bets are off, everybody around Steph. What should we be expecting if this thing ends here?
I don't think so. They have to cut payroll, not because they're broke, but because it affects the way they can add to the roster. And so I think you see Chris Paul get cut loose on his team option for $31 million. And I think you see the Warriors come to Klay Thompson with a big pay cut. He makes $43 million. He is not a $43 million player anymore. I think that comes down by a lot of money, down into the 20s. Those 2 alone is going to save you around $50 million. You have young pieces on the roster. You have some draft picks going forward that you can maneuver with and improve around the edges. This is not a blow-up situation. This team was 27-12 down the stretch. They deserve at least one more chance, especially because they've got young players that are getting better.
Meantime, Drea, you do think their season ends tonight. Why? Why does Sacramento beat them?
First of all, it's in Sacramento. Second of all, Sacramento is going to be fired up from what happened last season when the Warriors knocked them out of the playoffs. And then if you think about it, this has been a close game. The last 3 times these teams have played, it's been decided by 1 point. De'Aaron Fox is averaging 27 points against the Warriors in the last 10 times that he's played them. And for me, a lot of people are talking about the Warriors and their end to the season. You gave a longer stretch. What are they, 8-2 in the last 10 games? 5 of those games are against Utah twice, Charlotte, Portland, San Antonio. So I think we're giving a little bit more credit to the Warriors' end of the season than maybe they deserve based on who they played.
Absolutely. Logical. The Kings can win the game. There's no question about it. I think for me, ultimately, in trying to decide it, what tips it in Golden State's favor, a couple things. Kings are shorthanded. They lost a couple of key guys, Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter. Like, those are big pieces for them, particularly with their perimeter shooting. Not available. Also, Golden State really, I think, has a good formula for how to play Sabonis. He got frustrated in that series last year with the way that they guarded him. I think that happens again. And then you obviously have the ultimate weapon in Steph Curry in a moment like this to decide a close game.
So to let him be healthy and let's see what he can do. But let's focus in on the Lakers for a minute here, okay? So I made a little bit of a stir yesterday when I just pointed out the obvious. Someone needs to do that. Someone needs to be willing to say aloud, the Lakers would be way better off losing Tuesday night than winning. And you ask, well, why would that be, Greeny? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you what the Denver Nuggets have done to the Lakers the last 8 times they have played them. They've beaten them all 8. 4 of those were in the playoffs. 4 of those were by double digits. The Nuggets were 10-1 at home in the playoffs last year. They were an unstoppable machine through the postseason, including running right through the Lakers. If the Lakers win tonight, that's their first-round opponent. Their season comes to an immediate end. Should the Lakers lose tonight but win on Friday, which I know is not a guarantee, but should they do that, then they would get Oklahoma City, the youngest ever 1 seed ever, the second youngest team in the NBA this year, and a team the Lakers beat 3 out of 4 this season. So you tell me how it does not better serve the Lakers to lose tonight's game.
Well, you can only say they're better off if you're willing to go ahead and make the leap that they win that next game against the winner of the 9-10. Right? That's the only way you could guarantee they're better off, right? You don't know that they're going to win that game because they're going to play, if that were the case, either the Warriors or the Kings. The Warriors certainly have put up big numbers against the Lakers. They have not been able to slow them down this season. The Kings have played well against them also. So there's a potential that, yeah, okay, you lose the game, and then you lose another game, and now you don't even get to participate in the best of 7. So that's the leap you have to make. And if you're willing to make that leap, clearly you'd rather play the Thunder than the Nuggets. Every team in the West would make that argument.
There are no perfect scenarios here, obviously. But let me just ask you the following question, because so many people have said that to me. If you're the Lakers and you're playing the percentages, which do they have a better chance of doing? Beating either Golden State or Sacramento in 1 game at home, or beating the Nuggets in a best of 7?
Well, clearly beating the Kings.
So there you go.
Or the Warriors at home.
Well, this is what I'm saying. So, I mean, it just makes sense. I understand it flies in the face of competition. It flies in the face of ethics. It flies in the face of what the league would want. And I'm not suggesting they're going to do it.
And who LeBron James is, I think
All
also
of those
his
things.
Psyche, it flies in the face of that as well.
But you know what Yossi is? He's a very pragmatic and intelligent person. He understands if his goal is to win the championship, down deep in his soul, he knows he's way better off against Oklahoma City than Denver.
We're all going to be watching. Is there going to be a back spasm, a migraine, some bad gumbo somebody ate? There's no telling what could have happened.
They're in L.A. The gumbo would have to be brought up with the Pelicans. What do you think of this, Wendy?
I don't think it's logically incorrect. I think you can state your case and say that clearly that the Lakers would be better off on the opposite side of the bracket. That said, what's the most important thing for the Lakers? The health of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And if you win tonight's game, you get 3 days off between now and the start of that series on Saturday. And look, I understand that you want to, quote unquote, go far in the playoffs, but for this team to get where it needs to go, it has to play Denver. You might as well face them when you're at your best and you're more rested. And maybe Denver isn't in rhythm yet. They didn't finish the season on the strongest note.
Quickly, brain spasm by the host. The game is in New Orleans tonight, not in Los Angeles.
Why I made the gumbo comment.
Understood.
Okay.
And so you were right, and I'm an idiot. Here, very quickly, do you expect them to win? Who do you expect to win tonight?
I expect them to win because I think they're going to show up
The Lakers to win.
With the intent to win. And if they do, they're going to win the game because they ran roughshod over them over the weekend. the Pelicans are too small for that team. They've got to play smaller lineups against them, and they're too small. They had 70 points in the paint. They dominated them, and I think the Lakers show up to play with the intent to win, and they're going to win.
Okay, we'll see. That would give them a few days off, and we'll.